everybody, I'm Kate Conroy.
And I'm Vanessa Vitello.
And this is Other People's Business, which is the podcast from the New Jersey Business and Industry Association, the largest statewide business association in the country. We release a new episode every other week, so be on the lookout for that. Shout out to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group. They are the official sponsor of the show, and they do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out.
And a few housekeeping matters before we get started. This podcast is available anywhere you can get a podcast. That's iTunes, Google Play, Amazon's Alexa, really anywhere where you can get them. We even put them up on YouTube. If you want to be notified whenever we're new, it's njbia.org/subscribe. So with all that out of the way, with us today is Shane Brockwell of Insperity. Shane, say hi, let the audience hear your voice.
Hi, how's everybody doing?
Excellent.
All right.
We're so happy you to be here today.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the opportunity.
So today's icebreaker is, what are you currently binging? And it's okay if you're not like a TV person. It's okay if you want to say like books or movies or just fiction in general. So what are you binging right now?
Tom Phillips opened this question up to include food. So, you know, there's that too.
I forgot.
Yeah. Thomas Edison State University, a few episodes ago. Check that out.
Nice.
I want to binge all the goat cheese. That's what I want.
I've never heard somebody say that before. Go ahead, Shane. What are you binging?
So we're my wife and I are currently watching the Umbrella Academy, which is
yeah.
Good choice.
A very cool show.
Yeah.
So
what season are you in?
The second season.
Yeah, second one was better.
Yeah.
That's a great show.
A few episodes ago, I think maybe even on that episode with Tom Phillips we were just talking about, I was finishing up Umbrella Academy, and I had gotten so into it that I wanted to read ahead. I picked up all the books, read through those. The books are terrible. Don't read those. But yeah, it was a good show.
It was a good show. I got so jazzed by the second season that I went back and rewatched the first season. It's so good. So good. Anyway, I am currently binging, and I'm about to finish. Actually, I'm pretty sure I did finish it last night, but it was a late night. Harley Quinn, the animated show on HBO.
Harley Quinn is amazing.
Is amazing. Like, there are so many hilarious one-liners. Like, at one point, Joker falls into a vat of acid, and of course, this is all animated, right? So he falls into a vat of acid, which you would think that kills you, obviously, but not the Joker. So, but he does get amnesia.
That's his whole thing.
What?
That's his whole thing, going into acid. You know.
Apparently, I'm not like a comic. I don't know these things, but so like he gets amnesia and he falls in love with this normal person whose
like
her name is
mom.
Bethany. Right? She's like a soccer mom. Her name is Bethany. She's a nurse. She's got 2 kids, and he's like living this alternative life with her, just having a grand old time being like faux stepdad to these kids. And something happens with Harley Quinn, and she has to revive his memory to like get him to help her with something. So she pushes him into a vat of acid, and of course his memories come back. And as Joker, he says out loud, you know, trying to justify his relationship because he still loves Bethany, he says, I mean, a lot of dads are serial killers. It'll be
fine. Yeah, Harley Quinn's amazing. It's a hard R for anyone who hasn't seen it. It's definitely an adult cartoon right from the beginning. I mean, I think like within the first 5 words, I heard the F word for the first time, and I almost didn't know that that's what I heard. I was like, wait, did that? Oh, and then they said it again. Okay, yes, I did hear that. You know, so it hits you by surprise, and they always manage to, you know, keep pushing the envelope further and further, and it just keeps you on your toes. It's really funny.
But the storyline stays true the whole way. Like they just keep building more and more and more to a logical conclusion that is just, it makes sense, and it's hilarious and entertaining. And I thought it was fantastic.
So that's on HBO Max for anybody that wants to watch that.
Yes. What have you
I haven't been watching a show ever since I finished The Boys. I've been, you know, I fell really behind on my movies, and so I've been trying to get through the movies that were nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars back in, you know, January or February. Normally, I'd have finished this, you know, way long ago, but COVID. So I watched Judy, Bombshell, 1917, Marriage Story, Jojo Rabbit, all within the last like week and a half. So yeah.
The Boys is definitely interesting series as well.
Definitely. I mean, that was really good. Yeah.
Did you finish it, Shane?
Not yet. We're in the second season as well on that one.
I won't say anything. Yeah.
We're trying to figure out if is Homelander supposed to be the president, or is Homelander supposed to be the U.S., or are we just reading into it too much?
Do you mean like representative of?
Right.
Oh, that's a little more political than I think we're allowed to get into on this show.
Politics, Shane.
Right or wrong in either direction. We're just trying to figure out from the writer's perspective what they're trying to write into the show.
Yeah. We've had similar conversations. It's hard to tell sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm
That's a
not
great
going to
show.
touch that one.
Right.
We're gonna put that on the table. We're gonna say, check out The Boys. You can make your own determinations on what they're trying to say with the show. But it is excellent.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, tell me what you do at Insperity. Putting that aside.
Yeah, so I'm a district manager within New Jersey. There's 3 districts here in New Jersey, although Insperity has 80 offices nationwide. And so I manage one of the 3 sales teams in the state. And Insperity's a trusted advisor to some of the best businesses in New Jersey. Provides strategic support, human resources solutions, performance enhancements, and our whole goal is to help companies grow and get better and make a positive impact on their employees as well as the communities.
Fantastic. And so I think I understand that Insperity is a PEO. Is that right?
Correct. Yep.
For people who don't understand what that means, could you tell the audience?
Absolutely. Yeah. So PEO stands for Professional Employer Organization. And Insperity started back in 1986, and we've grown this entire space. So we're the pioneers of the industry. And basically what happens in a PEO relationship is we become sort of an outsourced human resources solution to help a company, a smaller company maybe that doesn't have a true HR person, or a company that hasn't an HR infrastructure, and we just become that back office to support them. So we do 250 different things, but it kind of breaks down to 3 different areas. There's the transactional piece of someone's business, which is payroll, workers' comp, and benefits. And there's what we refer to as reactive HR and proactive HR. So from a transactional side, payroll becomes a part of our payroll system. So we run payroll. We're extremely high tech on the payroll. You can run payroll from a cell phone if you really wanted to. Benefits become a part of our large group benefits platform. So we use United Healthcare. We're one of their long-term strategic partners. We have a great relationship with them. We've been partnered with them for over 19 years. And because of the way that our plan is structured, we're able to lower the cost of medical from that a smaller business can't get due to our economies of scale and the fact that we're not brokers. So we're not brokering medical insurance, and we're not making any money on the medical insurance. Our clients just become a part of our large pool. And so we were able to bring Fortune 500 benefits to a small organization that they can't get on their own or can't afford on their own. We also manage workers' comp, so if there's any workers' comp issues, we handle that. And then the cool thing is we're able to lower the cost of that transactional piece, and that pays for all the HR things that we do, or at least lower some of the overhead. So from a reactive HR as handbooks, job descriptions, employee relations issues, anything that revolves around sort of the blocking and tackling of HR. And then on the proactive side, we have over 5,000 training courses, and so performance specialists can get involved and help build out training curriculums for our clients. And the really cool thing with our platform is employees can go on and take any training course that they want 24 hours a day, so they have access to all those trainings. But if a company really wants to get strategic, one of their dedicated team members is a performance specialist, and they can sit down with the company and say, you're 20 employees and you want to grow to 40, and where do you think you have some skill gaps? And they can help plug those employees into different courses and then facilitate trainings on what they've learned. So it's sort of an end-to-end, hire-to-fire, relationship that we provide, for all these different services that companies really can't build on their own for the same cost.
That's amazing. What are some of the categories for the training? I mean, I assume that, managing people or, managing from afar, like that's probably something, but like, what about business writing or, technical stuff like that?
Yeah, so there's so much in the training catalog that I only know probably a fraction of it myself. But yeah, I mean, management training, leadership training, sales training. There's project management. There's Six Sigma. There's several hundred, if not maybe 1,000, that revolve around technology. So Oracle and C++, C++ and .NET and all that type of stuff. You know, so all that stuff exists within the platform. Luckily, you know, no one wants to come to me for any training. So we have dedicated people that know really the ins and outs of that platform. But it's a really great system where they can type in, you know, something, you know, Microsoft Office, or, you know, how do I use Excel? And it'll pop up every single training that revolves around that subject.
It sounds like the sort of thing that was tailor-made for COVID. Have you been finding, you know, that you've had to do anything different, or have you been finding maybe increased use during this time?
Yeah, you know, this year's been crazy, obviously, and
Yeah.
for several different reasons. And the whole COVID thing happened so fast. It was sort of like we heard about it in the background, and, you know, people were talking about it and sort of making jokes about it, and then all of a sudden it was like, it's here. We're moving to, you know, work from home. And so our New York offices were the first companies, or the first offices to work from home, and our clients were, you know, right behind us. And so the clients were reaching out, going, all right, now all my employees are home. What does that mean from an HR perspective and a compliance perspective? And do we need to update handbooks and procedures? And so our HR specialists started getting involved with their clients around those things. Then it became, I mean, really like a week later, it was layoffs. You know, there's no way, you know, people are shutting down now, so there's no way I'm going to be able to have all my employees. You know, so what does that look like? And so then they started engaging with our clients around, well, don't lay them off. Let's put them on a temporary leave of absence. They can still have access to benefits, and so all the compliance pieces that go along with that. And then the Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, came out shortly after that. And so because everything runs underneath the Insperity system, the president signed the bill on a Friday. Our clients could pull that report for the PPP that had everything that they needed on the following Tuesday. And they couldn't even file until Friday. And so for the majority of our clients, they hit that button, they got the report that could go straight to their bank, and they were in the first round because we made it a non-issue for them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was really crazy to see how fast Insperity came up with all this stuff. And we were doing, you know, these types of webinars every single week for a while for our clients, and or really anybody that just wanted to log into them and see them. And the other, you know, really cool thing. And again, you know, we're a big culture company. We believe in culture. We you know, eat it, sleep it. It's just in the DNA of Insperity. But the cool thing is to see it all unravel in a time like this, and how engaged our HR people were with our clients and really trying to help them. And our CEO came out and said, you know, anybody in the country, even if they're not a client, can engage our HR team to get advice through this time. So from a sales perspective, obviously no one's changing anything, you know, at that point. So all of our sales teams really just changed to trying to reach out to our local companies saying, even if you're not a client, we're here to help. So let us know. And our HR teams are working, you know, double time, just trying to take care of our clients through all this. And then we tripled it with adding in companies that weren't our clients. And so we had, you know, hundreds of companies all over the country that were not an Insperity client that were engaging with our teams, trying to figure out how to you know, get through all this. So it's been really a crazy year, but also a cool year to see how much stuff that, you know, that we really do for businesses around the country.
It certainly was a testament for seeing how agile many companies were and are. In the not-for-profit world, they call it friendraising versus fundraising, because so many golf outings and annual dinners and all of the fundraising efforts that most not-for-profits had on the calendar were just canceled overnight. And so they pivoted to friendraising, which is, you know, just cultivating those relationships in an ongoing way. And it sounds like you guys did a really good job of pivoting really quickly. So kudos to you for being so agile that you could like pull that off.
Yeah, you know, look, we're a pretty large company. We have about 3,600 internal employees, and there's divisions within Insperity, and that's all they do is compliance work. And so those people, really get to know, they do all the research and try to figure out, what's going on within each, really. I mean, every state can be different these days from an HR and a compliance perspective, but they research all this stuff and then roll it out to our local markets. And so it was really impressive to see how fast that we were able to do it, get ahead of everything before before it really came out from the government perspective.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other stuff that's happened this year from the civil unrest issues and everything else that we've been involved in, and it's sort of the same thing. We've been going above and beyond to try to get answers to our clients and how they should handle different things. And part of our service is if someone's suing one of our clients as a PEO or a co-employer, they're also suing us because we take on some of that liability. And so we're able to insulate our clients from a lot of those things as well. But ideally, our goal is to really just help a company get better and grow and not worry about the compliance piece. Just worry about their core competencies and growing the business, selling their product, selling their service, helping their clients, and let us deal with all the the back end compliance pieces.
You might have mentioned this, so forgive me if I didn't, if I missed it. But with 3,600 employees, are you in every state in the U.S. or are you just Northeast, or are you where are you?
Yeah, we have clients in all 50 states. We have about 80 offices nationwide, so we don't have feet in every state. I'm not sure exactly how many states that we're in, maybe 40 to 50, if not more.
Work on that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Insperity has been growing like crazy over the last couple of years up until this year, obviously with COVID. So we've been opening 5 to 10 offices per year, probably for the past 3-4 years. Just because the need for our services has grown. So we're opening new offices in different states. This year we paused just because of everything that's going on, but all of our offices that were supposed to happen this year are still on the books for next year. So we actually did not lay off anybody. In fact, we hired during COVID because we needed more people in our division in the sales side to help reach out to clients, because we know once all this stuff goes away, hopefully sooner than later, clients are going to be able to to make those decisions to change to partner with Insperity. And we need a lot more salespeople out there to to make that transition happen. Of course, then our HR people were working overtime, so we've been able to provide them a lot of extra support as well.
That's interesting. So one of the things that happened in society with COVID is Zoom. Like I really felt like Zoom COVID is going to change the face of commercial realty for a generation maybe, but you guys are still planning to like have physical offices next year. That's amazing. I like it.
Yeah, we're really become a partner with our clients, and I think the only way you can really partner with a company is by being close to them for the most part. And a lot of our clients are serviced by especially in the smaller companies, the 5 employees and 10 employees, maybe serviced by someone that's in another state from a daily basis. But if they ever need someone in person, then one of the local service people go out and see them. So we have a big office space here, and we're actually adding another 10,000 square feet when we move in January. So we're expanding just this office, and we're in Florham Park here. So we have. I just think there are different companies. I think the IT world and certain organizations can, they don't really need the brick and mortar. But when it comes to what we do, I personally, and I'm pretty much a nobody, but personally don't believe that Insperity would ever, get rid of our brick and mortar offices.
That makes sense. I mean, what you said makes absolute sense to me, and I'm so glad and grateful to hear it. I mean, I can't speak for anybody but myself, but Zoom is a really powerful and amazing tool, but boy, am I tired of it. Tired.
I'm with you.
I can't wait until, I don't know that Zoom as a meeting function will ever really go away, but I can't wait until this goes away. There has never been a time in my life where I have had to sit through a meeting with an image of myself right in front of me. Like,
right.
I'm looking, you see my eyes, they're not looking directly into the lens. They're looking right here this whole time, okay? For those of you who are in your car listening to this, it's from the chin to about the end of the shirt. That's where I live, right here, okay? Maybe sometimes up here, but really just in here. I can't wait until this is over.
Yeah.
We all have that
Yeah.
one.
I have a new theory, and this is new like today. You know, I always used to worry about the tech apocalypse, like Skynet rising up and killing us. And I've come to learn that this is the tech apocalypse. It's not robots trying to kill us. It's robots annoying us until we just want to die. Right? It's having to look at somebody chop up. It's having to like spend all this time. Like, can you hear me? Can you? But can you
You're
hear me?
muted. You're
Yeah,
muted.
nod your head if you can hear me. It's just chipping away at our souls, our spirits,
Yes.
little by little, every day.
I think
Yeah.
that, no, go ahead, Shane.
I was just going to say, I'm a member of Vistage as well, and we have a big Vistage group, and we did a mixer last week. So there's companies, and this company was down in South Jersey, and they send out all these mixers, and then you bring your own alcohol. But we're doing like a drinking mixer with people on a Zoom. It's just a bizarre thing to do. All of this is just weird. So it can't go away fast enough, in my opinion.
All right, I think we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna play a game.
Cool.
Cool.
Okay, and we're back, and it is now time to play my favorite game, Awful or Awesome. I'm going to name 3 things, and we each have to decide quickly if they're awful or awesome, and be prepared to defend your answers. Are you ready?
Ready.
Okay. First up, military school. So
Shane,
I'm
you want
gonna
to
go
take that one?
first.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Go ahead.
In theory, I think that they sound like badass, right? Like, I think they sound fun and cool, but probably in practice, they're less fun. I mean, I went to Catholic high school, grade school, like the whole 9. It probably wasn't like, they're not comparable, but in terms of like strictness, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go ahead and say awful, I think. I don't know.
So I'll say, because I went to a military school for 2 years in high school. For me personally, it was awful. However, I do see the value as well. But yeah, no, marching around with a rifle on your shoulder when you're in high school and wearing uniforms and shining your shoes every day is not a fun thing to go through when you're a kid.
That's
Let me
terrible.
ask you this, because I never went to military school, but I always kind of romanticized the idea of the school uniform, because in theory, I would kind of hate it because you like to individualize yourself. But from the other side of it, there could be the idea that, people get picked on for what they wear. People, there's a lot of like, it takes that, having to decide what to wear out of your life every day. Is there any, like, was that ever a good thing for you, or is it always just kind of like, I hate this?
So you bring up a good point, because you don't have to worry about what you're going to wear every day. You wear the same thing, but you have to have your name badge, pinned in the right position, and those that had their rank on their collars, and you have to have you have a brass belt, so that's got to be shined, and your shoes have to be shined. So it wasn't just going into your closet and pulling something out and throwing it on and going to school. You had to actually work to get your outfit ready before you put it on and went to school.
How do you rank up in school? Is that sort of like if I get straight A's, then like I rank up kind of a deal, or?
No, so rank in school, you basically had to earn it, and you took, it was separate from grades. Grades had nothing to do with rank, and you had to basically go out of your way to take other things and get rank. I was only there for 2 years, my junior and senior year, and I'm pretty sure I was the only person ever to graduate from that school without rank, and the school's been around for 100-something years.
I love it. You're a rebel.
I was definitely a rebel without a cause, for sure.
I don't know if you ever watched Malcolm in the Middle, but what I'm thinking of is Francis. He had to go away to military school, and he was like the bane of their existence the whole time he was there. They had the guy with the hook as the head of the military school. I don't know what you call it. He wasn't a principal, but yeah.
Yep. That was
I'm
sort of
imagining that now.
What is what is the word for the principal of a military school? Is it like commandant or
Yeah,
That was
general?
the name in Malcolm in the Middle, right?
Was it commandant? I have no
I
idea.
think so. I think so. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure.
it depends on the school too, because there's naval schools and I mean, there's different schools, so it would be the head of whatever division of military that you're in.
Okay, so now I have so many more questions.
Yeah.
So like, it's military school, it's not Marine school or Navy school, or like, how do you differentiate? Is it just whatever branch of the military the principal graduated from? Is that how it goes, or no?
No, I mean, these things started a long time ago, and to be honest with you, couldn't tell you how one becomes a naval school, and yeah,
Okay.
So, are there such thing as Air Force military schools?
I don't know, to be honest with
Because
you.
I was gonna say it would be can you imagine, like, I had to play dodgeball in high school. Can you imagine getting into like fighter jets as part of your like gym class? You know?
I was just thinking advanced
Yeah,
aerodynamics, go.
yeah, I mean, one of the guys that was in my school does actually fly fighter jets now. So there was a lot of kids that that was just sort of they came from military families and they grew up in those schools, and they went on to to have great careers within the military. For me, I was just sort of stuck in it and had to make the best of it for 2 years. It wasn't all bad, but it was it was definitely an experience.
I guess I never considered that it could be anything other than a punishment. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing to me that kids would come from a military background and choose willingly to do that because they have an idea already at 14, 15, 16 years old what their career path is going to be, and it includes the military, and so they might as well start with military school. I mean, my whole point of reference, frame of reference, is movies too, so I'm like, in my head, it's always a punishment,
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look, there was kids that were really into it, and they wanted to be the battalion commander and go off and to make into their military careers. That just wasn't me. So I ended up with probably again, I think I may have the award for the most demerits of any day cadet back then as well.
Like I said, a rebel. I love it.
I love it.
And there's no reason behind it. If someone told me to to go right, I went left. And again, there's for no reason.
What happens
Um,
if you get a demerit?
So you build up a certain amount of demerits, and then that's when detention kicks in. And detention was not only after school, but also on the weekends. So if you had enough demerits, you go in on a Saturday, and you march around a track with a rifle on your shoulder for several hours in the miserable sun on your Saturday.
Hours?
Yeah,
That
Hours?
doesn't sound fun at all.
yeah.
That's terrible.
I spent a lot of time on there on the weekends, unfortunately.
Okay. What else you got, Kate?
Okay, we got to move on. I'm sorry. Wristwatches, and the reason I added this one is because I know, Shane, you have a story, but also I used to be so religious about wearing a wristwatch. I loved it. Like, I'm very like in a box type A, like I need things to be just so, and my wristwatch was a huge part of it. I took that wristwatch off the weekend we came home, like the weekend that lockdown started. I took it off, and I literally haven't put it on since, and I don't miss it at all. So I'm gonna say awesome for some people.
So watches. I always liked watches. When I was a kid, swatches were a big thing, and this was way back when.
Swatches!
What's a swatch? I mean, I know what a paint swatch is, but
You don't know what a swatch is? Wait,
no.
Shane, how old are you? We got to be close to the same age if you know what a swatch is.
I'm 44.
Simpatico, I'm 44 as well. Swatch.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Vinny, a swatch is a watch that you could swap out the wristband with the face. So depending on what you were going to wear in a day, you could be like, oh, I'm going to wear the red one today, or I'm going to wear the pink one or the blue one. It was like all the rage. People were
I thought that was a standard feature of watches. Like most watches, you can kind of disband the band from it and put on a different one if you want. But maybe this one came with the other ones just for the sake of. The
Yeah,
ECS.
they were all fun colors. They were they were plastic because they were for kids. I think they were fairly cheap, and they had like a little snap thing that you could snap across the top, so you wouldn't bang it and scratch it. And those came in different colors. And
Yep.
um,
Yep.
so
Funny.
I think that's where I got into liking watches. And then somewhere along the line, my dad got one of those big Casio, or maybe it was a Timex, the computer watches. So it's one of those things you could literally do math on it, which I thought was like the coolest thing
The
ever.
calculator watches. Yeah, I used to have one of those back in the day because Marty McFly in the Back to the Future movies has a calculator watch. Never does anything with it in the movies. It's just there for one sight gag when he's in the 50s and the alarm on it goes off and somebody sees it and is like, what's that? And he has to hide it real quick. But yeah, I saw that and I had to have one.
Those things were cool back in the day, and uh, as you get into watches, it becomes this black hole of just I don't know. People buy watches for jewelry, so like people get a Rolex or something like that. People buy those for investments. Watches can be investments, and then you can look at the crazy complicated watches and the really small companies where they only make 100 watches a year, where Rolex makes 1 million watches a year, and those are all handmade and put together and hand polished. And again, it just goes down this rabbit hole of over engineering for no purpose other than you can.
Mm.
I like it.
Yeah,
What do you think, Ben?
when I was younger, I used to have this Legend of Zelda watch, and it had they called it a Game and Watch, and you could like play the game right on the watch. And to this day, and I've played a lot of video games in my life, that was the hardest video game I've ever played. Like frustratingly difficult. Like you want to just rip the thing off your arm and throw it. So I remember that. But in general, I mean, I haven't worn a watch in forever. Like right now, no watch on me. It used to be like, hey, if I took it off and left it somewhere, I'd feel naked. Like if I left the house without my watch, I'd have like a panic attack, like an anxiety surge would go through your body. And then somewhere like right after college, I just took it off one day and never put it back on. And I know when they came out with the smart watches, this is where I thought you were going when you said swatch, like combination of smart and watch. I know when they came out with those, I considered it for a hot second, and then I was like, you know what? I'm used to not having those watches on anymore. I don't think I can go back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Apple Watches and those things, it's been a really interesting topic in the, I guess, watch community, if you will, because those of us that are into the mechanical watches, and now they have all these computer watches out there. But people wonder, oh, it's going to kill the watch watch market in general, and but I don't think I don't see it happening, because those crazy nerds like myself and thousands of others that are into the mechanical pieces are never going to go to the Apple Watch as their only watch.
All right, last one. Scotch, as in the beverage.
Is there another, like Scotch tape would be not the beverage?
Yeah, Scotch tape or butterscotch pudding. I don't know.
Okay, sure. I'm not a big Scotch drinker. I mean, the few times I've had it, it's been fine.
Yeah.
But,
I'm more of a whiskey person, so I'm gonna go with awful.
Sure,
I've had enough Scotch in my day that I appreciate it for what it is, but it's not what I would prefer. So I'm gonna go with awful.
I love Scotch, and I like Scotch so much. I used to have a dog named Scotch.
It's so cute.
But yeah, no, that's probably my go-to. If I was gonna have one drink for the rest of my life, that would be it.
very cool.
Nice. All right. And Vinny, you had no opinion on Scotch?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no opinion. I mean, like I think in the last episode I talked about the girly drinks being my thing. It is what it is. Like I can't tell the taste buds to do something different. So
A good appletini.
yeah, yeah. I mean, sure. If it tastes good, a nice sugary drink, I'm in. What would you recommend to a non-Scotch drinker? It's like this is the one you want to do to get into this kind of a deal.
I would, a good Macallan 12 is just an easy drinking Scotch. you'd probably want to add, at least one block of ice to it.
Probably.
But there's nothing wrong with that. That just changes the flavor and it opens up a little bit. And some people love it neat where there's no ice, and some people love it with ice.
Wait, it changes the flavor?
Absolutely.
Yeah, the waters
Oh,
it
I always
down.
thought it was just okay. So I always thought that the ice just took up more volume in the glass, and so you were drinking less of the thing, and that was supposed to be how you were, I don't know, watering it down, so to speak. But yeah, no, that's not the case. It actually changes the flavor.
Yeah. So
Yes.
if you go to like a high-end Scotch tasting, which I haven't been to in probably 15 years, but they'll actually give you little water droplets, so you can taste it neat, and then you add in 2 drops of water and see what it does to the to the flavor and to the smell, because it opens up different things within the Scotch, and that all has to do with
Wow.
how they've stored the Scotch. Where was it stored in a what type of cask it was put in, those types of things. But again, one of those things you can go down a rabbit hole if you really want to get into it.
I imagine.
That's not my thing. I just like to drink it.
Sure.
Fair enough.
All right. So next segment on the show, if you had one piece of advice you would give to your younger self, what would it be? Could be buy like a really awesome like Scotch thing, hide it away somewhere for 10, 15 years, and take it out now. But yeah, go ahead.
So that that was going to go a different direction, but that's a really good point, because back then, I even though I was into watches and I couldn't afford one, a nice one anyway, but go back and buy a what they call now is a Paul Newman Daytona, which is a Rolex. That would be my the what I would tell myself. And the only reason why, they only made a couple thousand of these things, and Paul Newman, the actor, had one. And it was one of the most famous Rolexes ever, because he wore it in all his films, and it was pretty much his daily watch that his wife gave him. Several years ago, I think it was maybe 3-4 years ago, something like that. It's a long story, but I'll make it short. His daughter was dating a guy back in the day, and Paul Newman went to the guy and said, "Hey, you know what time it is?" And the guy goes, "No, I don't have a watch." And Paul Newman took his watch off and took his Rolex off and gave it to this guy. And so he had no idea. He's just, Paul Newman gave me a Rolex. So, holy crap. So he went home and stuck it in a drawer. And obviously he never, he didn't marry his daughter. They went their separate ways at some point. And several years back, he pulls it out of his drawer. He's like, "You know what? I'm going to wear this." And he's wearing it in an airport, and some guy sees it and he's like, "Oh, nice Paul Newman." And the guy goes, "How did he know that this is Paul Newman's watch?" It was just that specific watch was named the Paul Newman. That's what the Rolexes have different nicknames. It's sort of crazy, but so anyway, he goes back. He finds, because Newman's own is Paul Newman's charity, so he goes back to Paul Newman's daughter and says, "Hey, I have your dad's watch. Let's put it up for auction." And so that's what they did. Want to take a wild guess what it sold for? A wristwatch. Just
I know that these things can go for kind of tens of thousands of dollars, especially in the Rolex brand. So I'm gonna go $75,000.
Hey,
Kate?
what's your guess?
I'm gonna say $1 million, because it was worn by Paul Newman, and it was probably in mint condition because it was in a drawer for years and years.
It went for $17 million.
$17 million. Wow.
17 million. Yep. So a standard
We've all been collecting the wrong things.
Right?
Yeah. So a standard Paul Newman, or a standard Rolex Daytona from that serial, it was a couple $100 back in the day, maybe $500, something like that, which is a lot of money back then. The standard ones, just a generic standard Paul Newman, they sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars, so maybe 250,000, depending on the year and the market at this point. So if somebody has one of those sitting in their drawer, go put it in an auction. You'll be pleasantly surprised what you get out of it.
Wow.
Incredible. Really good advice for your younger self.
Yeah. Yep. I don't know what you do with it. If you own a $17 million wristwatch, I assume you don't.
All right, so let's. I'm sorry, that makes me laugh. So let's say somebody wants to get a hold of you, take advantage of some of your services. How can they do that?
Yeah, so Shane.Brockwell, SHANE.BROCKWELL at Insperity.com. That's my email address, best way to get me. And, we usually just have a conversation with a business and find out what they're doing, find out where they may have some gaps. Maybe it's their medical insurance is getting out of control. We can help control that. Costs a lot better. Maybe they're worried about compliance because they're moving into multiple states. Maybe they're just worried about all the stuff that's happening right now and how to handle it from an HR perspective. And those are all different things that we can have a conversation around and see if there's an area that Insperity can help with.
Very cool.
Perfect. All right. I think that's our show.
That's the show.
All right.
Thank you to our listeners, especially subscribers. We really appreciate the support. Thank you to New Jersey Manufacturers Insurance Group, the official sponsor of the show. They do home, auto, and workers' comp, so check them out. And finally, a big thank you to Shane Brockwell of Insperity for joining us today. It was such a pleasure.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. It's great talking to you.
All right.
Thank
We'll
you
see
too.
you next time.
All right, thanks.